Greeks. A people glorious and arrogant, valiant and headstrong. These were the men and women who laid the very foundations of Western civilization. Their monuments still recall perhaps the most extraordinary 2 centuries in history.
Whatever. 'Cause this is my United States of whatever. And this is my United States of whatever. And this is my United States of whatever.
I have strong feelings on this game, and I started off writing a very long and negative review on it. But then I drank some glögg, and I mellowed out a bit. Life is all about having the correct expectations, and the same is true for this game. If you expect a single-player experience with a decent story, immersive setting and cool story missions, then this is not at all the game for you. What this game is a time waster. It is like a single-player MMO with a ton of copy and paste activities. Perhaps I would have appreciated it back in my student days, but today this is not at all what I am looking for. I started playing this game in parallel with a friend. My friend ended up dropping it after 10 hours, while I pushed on and completed it, which took around 50 hours. One thing that is very telling is that despite me having played the game so much more, my friend basically experienced everything in the game that the game had to offer. What I'm trying to say here is that this game is all about creating modular activities and then reusing them into absurdum. There are no cool missions or mid to end game content that my friend didn't get to experience. He got the full game experience within his 10 hours. He took over some camps, he fought in some battles, he had some ship combat, and he traveled across the world a bit. And that is the full game. A phrase that we used when discussing this game was a whatever simulator. And what we mean by that is a game with little to no immersion, where nothing matters and you really shouldn't take anything seriously. And I think that perfectly describes this game. So we have a main story, which fundamentally doesn't make any sense at all. If you pay just a little bit of attention, then it should be clear that it is completely incoherent. I'm not going to waste my time going through it in this video, because Ubisoft clearly didn't care at all. Now the narrative not making any sense at all is kind of a big blow to the immersion, but it doesn't end there. You are also an overpowered demigod with unexplained magical abilities. You can beat up sharks on the water. You can jump from the highest tower without having to worry about fall damage. And despite this, enemies are often big damage sponges. And the combat just looks ridiculous. In short, it is not immersive at all, and I never felt like I was in this setting, despite all the effort they have put into the big map, and it is a big shame. Next, we have the lightweight RPG mechanics that has been added to the game. There is a skill tree, which is fine I guess, but it is a bit boring. You will also find different armors and weapons, Also fairly lightweight stuff, but at the very least it is fun to dress up your character. What is not fun, however, is having to grind in a single player game. Everything in this game is level gated, and if you wish to proceed in the story or visit new islands, then you will need to spend some time leveling up your character. Now don't get me wrong, the game is piss easy, and the leveling changes absolutely nothing. It's all pretend after all. Remember,
Whatever.
but if you don't want to hit your enemy 100 times each before they die, then you will need to level up your character. And this turns optional side content into mandatory content. Thankfully, Ubisoft have the solution to the problem that they have created, and you can buy microtransactions for XP boosts. How awful! A fun twist to this is that since the story is awful, the main missions are just side content in disguise, and the islands being mostly the same, the goal is actually worthless, and it makes the grinding meaningless in multiple ways. It is almost a bit funny when you think about it. Either way, let's get back to the grinding. Most modular activities involves you finding a camp with things to kill. There is of course no real reason to kill these things, but you need to remember.
Whatever.
There is of course a simplistic stealth system allowing you to take down the enemies before you alert everyone. It works alright, but it is generic and underwhelming. Now when the combat starts, you then have a simplistic combat system where you can spam enemies down using the left mouse button, and then you can either parry or jump away when you get the correct visual cues. You have some abilities stuff of course, but nothing is all that exciting about this combat system. It is fine, but it is easy, simplistic, brain-dead and a bit boring. It is one of those combat systems which works fine, but it works when it is not the focus of the game. But in this game it kind of is, and I don't think it is even close to being good enough, considering how much time you are expected to do it. I should mention that there are some big battles in the game as well. The combat works as it normally does, but you need to take down a couple of officers within a time limit to win the battle. So it is basically a DPS check, and of course it is quite underwhelming. We also have ship battles, which are simplified versions of how they used to work in the older games. They are of course quite underwhelming. Speaking of underwhelming, we have climbing, where you now can climb anything as long as you hold down a button. To completely remove all the tension from the climbing, fall damage has been nerfed to where it basically doesn't exist anymore. Please notice that I'm saying underwhelming, because that is what it is. The gameplay, it's okay. The production values are decent, and I didn't hate all of my time with the game. But I'm not looking for the time waster. I want good combat, a decent story, an immersive setting and some cool missions. And this game just does not deliver on that at all. I believe this review has carried on for long enough. There is a lot more fluff to cover, but it is really just more side content in disguise. And I hope that I have made it clear where I am coming from and why I didn't like the game. Perhaps this game is great if you want something else, but I am certainly not the correct person to judge that. This was not the direction I wanted the series to take, and I have no interest at all in playing Origin or Valhalla after playing this one. Perhaps they will find their way back to something that appeals to me, but I will stay the hell away from the series from now on.